So this is an example of an automation. So this isn't an agent, this is a series of automations. And it's utilizing its skill to categorize. So this is just an example. Obviously, your inbox may be slightly different. So every time a new email comes in, it can work out which category does this fall into and then file it into that folder. So, for example, what you could have is you could have an urgent folder and an invoice folder, a newsletter folder, a frequently asked questions folder, a client email folder, a contacts folder, maybe a confirmation folder for when you've booked stuff, maybe a folder for your meeting acceptances, depends on your world. And then AI can then process each of those categories accordingly. So maybe for your urgent folder, we could send you or it could send you a notification every hour to your phone via Slack, for example. Your invoice folder, maybe it could strip out, use that extract data skill that it has and strip out all the data from your invoices, put them in a spreadsheet so your bookkeeper will love you. Maybe you could have a newsletter folder where you could summarize every newsletter that comes in there and create an audio file. Maybe you could have a frequently asked questions folder. Maybe your business is the type of business where you get a lot of incoming requests that the answer you've answered before or the answer's on your website. So you create a knowledge base that the AI can tap into and it can create draft responses. All you then need to do is go in and go, yeah, that response is correct, send, 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 send. Do a similar thing with client emails. It could notify you frequently about any new client emails. And based on how you've responded to them in the past, based on what's happening with that client, it could also draft a response for you to just hit send or amend, however the case may be. I've also put in a little fun one. So, because I use this, you could have a folder where if you attended an event, you took a photo of all of the lovely business cards that you collected at that event, send it to yourself. It could then put that into a folder. AI could strip out all of the data from that business card and add it to your contacts, etc., etc., etc. So let me actually show you some of this stuff in real life. So let's get this and hopefully, what do I need? I need make.com. So can you in the chat just tell me if you can now see a slightly different screen? I'm hoping you can see. Yes, brilliant. So this is the tool I personally use for creating automations. It's called make.com. 99% of you will have heard of Zapier. It's Zapier on steroids because it has a lot more functionality and a lot more different things you can do. The cost of this tool, as you can see, I'm paying $108 a year for this, which is about $9 a month for my needs. And I obviously do a lot of testing. That's more than enough. So for all of you on the call, that would be enough too. And you can actually have a free account where you can run, or you can have switched on two scenarios at a time if you want to kind of play with it or just, have one thing. They organize each of their automations in what they call a scenario. Excuse me, a scenario, which is obviously a trigger and a series of actions. As you can see, I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So let me show you that example of a really simple one, which is the fun one that takes pictures of a business card and puts them into your contacts folder. So super duper simple how this is set up. This module, and these are all just kind of drag and drop modules that you can add on. I've got a module here, watching my email for anything that falls into that folder, which obviously has been put there by an AI. I've then got what's called an iterator, which essentially does what this picture says. So it takes one thing and creates it into many things. So in this case, it's looking at all of the attachments and splitting them into single attachments. It's then running that through a very simple prompt I've set up within OpenAI. So in this case, it's saying something along the lines of please strip out the name, telephone number, email address, blah, blah, blah. And then in my case, it's passing it to Microsoft to put into my contacts folder. Contacts database. Obviously, it would do it to a spreadsheet, to Google, to whatever you use. So that's an example of a pretty simple AI automation. You can also get crazy complex. So let me show you the one that deals with my invoices. And don't worry, I'm not going to take you through every single module here. But again, you can see how it can handle pretty complex requests. So in this case, again, it's watching a folder. A little picture of an envelope is my email for any invoices that comes through. And basically what this is doing is stripping out the invoice, taking out all of the line items and adding it to a spreadsheet and kind of PDFing it. And a bit more bells and whistles, but essentially that's what it does. And then this is what I end up with. So this is a demo version, but it is real invoices I've run through. So for example, looking at this one, it's pulled out this GoDaddy invoice, and then it's ripped out all of these line items. It's got the value, the VAT, and then here's a hyperlink to the original. So obviously, if I sent that to my bookkeeper, I actually do my own bookkeeping, so automate it. But you could send that to your bookkeeper and they would absolutely love you. And then the third one I talked about within your inbox is your newsletters. So you could have your newsletters running through an automation that summarize them. So here's an example. Here's a nice little short summary. I could read that and go, no, I don't want to read this. Or I could read that and go, yes, please, I want a bit more of an in-depth summary. And I can get the full email back again. I could even get an audio file. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this or not, but we'll see. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's talking to me. So a whole bunch of different options, and all of this stuff can happen automatically. So that would be an example of how you could handle your inbox, and hopefully you're now thinking, you could have this entire setup, or you could just have one little bit of it set up to help improve your productivity.